Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Phil. This is Christy, my beautiful wife.
Good morning.
So we want to welcome you guys here today. We are just trying to explain why we're doing Warrior to Love and how we can or how we have learned to better communicate with one another.
We want to start with why we're doing the whole purpose of Warrior to Love, what our inspiration is kind of behind Warrior to Love, our personal journeys, and what we want to get out of our lives and our podcasts. So we hope that you are along for the ride and that you appreciate that. So
yeah, we're going to try to do these weekly or
semi-weekly.
Semi-weekly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly. Because it's about getting the information out there and trying to have a better life and through communication and understanding of one another. And for me, it's getting out of that warrior mindset.
So I think that the lives and the podcast, for me, what I'm seeing kind of happen with this is that, we are a real couple, and the whole thing about us is that what you will see along the way is probably going to be very real life. And in these things, we're probably going to have discussions, and you may see disagreements. You may see us very well have that conversation where we do exactly what we say we're going to do, where we're talking about, he said, she heard, and we repeat back what we say and how we've gotten through our communication issues. And so you might see that, like, that's exactly what I expect, because we're not counselors. We are a real life couple, and that is 100% what I expect you to see is our real life. So we are kind of sharing that with you, and I hope that you take that for what it is and know and understand that we're just here to kind of share with you how we have come so far and how we've gotten here. And so kind of with that, Philip, what was your inspiration behind Warrior to Love? Like, why did you want to do this?
Well, for me, it was because of you.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I'd lost everything that I felt was important. I lost communication with my kids, didn't know how to do that, and I couldn't understand why I wasn't fitting in. I've lived through both the civilian and military worlds simultaneously most of my life. I didn't think anything was wrong with me. And I realized over time that it wasn't anybody else, it was me. I had to take responsibility for who I am and my actions, my thoughts, my beliefs, and everything that goes into it. It's about helping myself understand the world around me, because I was a hard charger. I had a lot of ambition and not always to articulate that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that with what we're doing and how we can come together and basically understand more about why and who we're wanting to help. I look at it as veterans, first responders, actually anybody that is interacting in a civilian capacity can learn from this.
Mm-hmm. So when we talked about this, and I know we've done, you've kind of done a lot of different things, and I kind of kept bringing back to, I think that if there's anything that we're really going to do, I think the biggest thing that we should do is talk about the way that we communicate, the way that we have learned how to communicate, and the way that it has worked best for us. And if we were going to do something, if we were going to share ourselves, then we should share the way that we communicate. We should share the way that we have come so far, and the way that we have grown together and made it, kind of where we did. And for me, when we talked about it and we decided to do it, we'll kind of backtrack and say we traveled for a while in an RV, and
that was fun.
Yeah. And I work with a lot of patients that are retired veterans and things of that nature that have been married for a very long time. And I go back and I will always ask people, what is your secret to a long marriage? And 9 times out of 10, people will say communication. And so for me, that was the main thing, is that I want to share how we have learned to communicate in the best way that we've learned to communicate. And I think that can help anybody, veterans, obviously, and first responders, and especially like the wives, because
Yes.
I think for us, it's hard sometimes because they don't come home and talk. They don't want to come home and say anything. And so it's very easy to misunderstand what they're trying to say. And then it's also very easy for them to misunderstand what we're saying. And so when we started the way that we communicate, it really opened up a lot of doors. And it was eye-opening, very, very eye-opening on how easily something so simple could be misunderstood.
You take it wrong.
Right, exactly. And something that you think is very, very clear is completely misconstrued in someone else's mind. And so I use that communication tool every single day. I use it with my patients. I use it with my friends. I use it obviously in my relationship. That has transferred over into my life. And I think it's made me a better communicator, a better person. And I hope to do that, and share that with people. Do I think I'm the first one to do it? Hell no, absolutely not. No. But I am a real life person who's utilizing it. And I feel like if I can reach people, and if people have things that they want to ask and ask us about, what if we have encountered something, then absolutely we can talk about it. I can tell you that just as an example, I was talking to the person that I at the nail salon the other day, and he's a veteran himself, and he brought up a situation, and I communicated something that had happened with us, and he was like, I never thought of it that way, and I my relationship completely wrong because I never thought of it from that perspective, and let me try to communicate this in this way and see if maybe I can fix that. And the next time I went, he was like, that helped me so much. And I think it's really going to strengthen our relationship for me to go back and work that way. And so little things like that. And if we can do that, then absolutely we want to do that. So Philip, do you want to kind of talk about your personal journey a little bit?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. If no one knows, I came from the Seattle area back in 2015 or 2015. Yeah, 2015.
Oh, just to interrupt. My first question was, are you a serial killer when I met him? I'm sorry. Really, I'm sorry, Seattle people, but you gotta have history there.
Yes, we give it honestly. So anyway, I lost everything. Everything that I thought was important was materialistic, and I saw it all go away. Everything I had been working for my career, and it was one of the lowest points in my life because I had no idea where I was going, or I didn't even know how to actually turn on the stuff in the RV. Mm-hmm. So, but I came here to Jacksonville, Florida, is where we live now, because the Class A RV blew up. The engine blew in it. And so what it did, it prevented us from going or living that lifestyle of just going and enjoying life, because we went down the whole I-5 from Vancouver all the way down to San Diego and crisscrossing the country and everything. It was freedom, but it's not conducive to doing more. But anyway, I came here to Jacksonville, was at Mayport, met her on Match, and wasn't looking for anything. And when I walked out on the beach to meet her, God smacked me in the back of the head, told me to pay attention, because she would change my whole perspective on life.
Mm.
And I got to give her kudos because we weren't together that long before she went cross country with me. And after 6 months of knowing each other, she felt that comfortable with me. Thank God. But
It wasn't easy.
No.
It was not easy.
But what I found out is, as the more I started to learn and grow, and she wanted, or not made me, she made me feel love. And I was starving for it because I was unappreciated in my past. But now we've been together 9 years, been married 8, and I have better communication with my family because I realize my way is not the only way.
Also, I will say maybe you were appreciated in the past, but you weren't communicated the same way that you needed to be communicated to. And so you didn't know that you were appreciated, because sometimes it has to be communicated the same way to be, you have to be communicated in a way that you understand, and it has to be reciprocated and understood. So you very well might have been appreciated, but not have understood how you were appreciated. Right. So, yeah. I think that neither one of us can say whether or not you were appreciated 100%.
I did. Yes.
You just didn't feel it.
I didn't feel it.
Right. So,
and that was my thoughts, my beliefs, my actions of just surviving and hopefully thriving, but not always. Mm-hmm. But what it is I'm willing to take a moment rather than react. Because one of the things she used to tell me, and one of the problems I had, because I talked to everybody the same. It didn't matter you're old, young. I didn't understand my audience. And
listen, he thinks that Family Guy is everyday life. Okay. So we had to go through a huge thing where we had to explain that things were not female friendly. And so
that's fun.
Listen, no. But so Family Guy is funny on TV. It is not everyday life. And we had to kind of get there. That was a journey, but we made it.
So we have a user. I don't have a name, but
welcome. Thank you. Hi.
Wow. So beautiful to see and hear you. I greatly appreciate it.
So just a little bit about my journey. I come from a very, very different background from Philip. My mother, well, okay, let me back up. My biological father was a medical doctor. He was an alcoholic, and we divorced him when I was 5. And there's really no trauma from that, because that was a decision that my mom and I made together. I think she regrets asking me if I wanted to divorce him, but I do not regret that question at all, because I was ready to get him there. And she met and married the man who kind of raised me. And unfortunately, at some point in my early 20s, late high school, early 20s, he fell into some rough times and kind of became an addict with some addiction. And just a phenomenal man, absolutely incredible man. And I have some wonderful memories of him. But he overdosed, and he will always hold a special place in my heart.
It's all right.
But after that, and again, there's no trauma with that, just love. But she met and married another man who is absolutely incredible and a phenomenal father to me. But my mom is a solid rock figure in my life. And I'm sorry.
She is a great woman.
She has made me a truly forgiving person who I think sees the best in people, wants to see the best in people, wants to communicate with people, and has the ability to take the time and the patience to listen to what someone is saying and not judge where they're coming from.
It's true.
And I think that has truly helped with our relationship, and it definitely helped when I went on the road, because we were very rough around the edges when we got there and got on the road. But I kind of I married previously, and my ex-husband had 2 children. I could not have any of my own. I kind of helped raise them. They had a mom. They had a good mom. I never wanted to take her place, but I absolutely love those children as if they were my own. My ex-husband was a phenomenal man. I have nothing bad to say about him. We just grew apart, and unfortunately, when we grew apart, my stepdaughter will still speak to me. My stepson does not, but that will be something that I carry with me. I will probably talk about that at some point in our stuff, because that is something that hurts. But that's kind of where I come from. And so that kind of helps with my communication and things of that nature. Because I had that in my background, I feel like that helped me with some of his communication with his daughters.
Yes.
I should say, our daughters now.
Our daughters, yeah.
But, they are absolutely phenomenal young women, all 3 of them. And they're all living different life paths, and incredibly, incredibly smart and intelligent women. So I am absolutely excited to be on this journey. And so the other thing I wanted to ask Philip was, why did you want to kind of target and kind of look for veterans and first responders? Like, why was that your first, your first market? Like, kind of, but why was that your
audience?
Yes.
Well, a lot of it had to do with me. Because I had a law enforcement, emergency management, military, intel, civil affairs, all that and I realized I had more empathy and understanding for other countries than I did for my own, because I set them a higher standard. Because for us to say we have it hard, and then you go somewhere else and you go, "Ooh, wow, I've got it great compared to some others." And what I've seen from talking to a lot of veterans and first responders is that communication. And because we're out there, most people only handle or have maybe 1 to 2 traumatic events in their life. Well, we do it every day. Every day we wake up, you don't know what you're going to get into, but that's part of the excitement behind it. And I realized where I failed on my end was because I never talked about it. I still don't talk about it unless I'm around other veterans and because there's certain things that we think is exciting. Everybody else will be scared from it.
Oh yeah, I can attest to that, because I never heard a single story. And then one day we went to a buddy at his house. We were in California, and we all sat down in a hot tub, and all of a sudden it was like, I'd never heard him chat so much in my entire life. I didn't know what was happening, but all of a sudden these stories started coming out, and I was like, what? Holy cow. I had no idea that you had even been in any situations like that. And as a matter of fact, like randomly, like maybe a year later, even his brothers had no idea that he had been in situations where he had been shot at, and he had been, had bombs exploding around him and things of that nature, because he just doesn't talk about stuff like that. So they had no idea he'd even been in situations of that, that extreme. And again, I think for me, the reason that I wanted to make sure that I was speaking more to wives of first responders and veterans and things like that is because
you're left out.
Well, yes, but also because I think that people don't understand how much of that empathy has to be stripped away in order for them to do what they are supposed to do. Especially in the military, they purposely have to strip some of that away because they have to be able to tamper it down in order to protect us, in order to do the things that they have to do on the front line. And the fact that they are willing to do that and willing to do those things for us and for our country is absolutely incredible to me. And I still don't think, even as wives, as family members, as things like that, I don't think that we ever quite understand that sacrifice that they do. And then when they come home, it is a culture shock to them, because now they're thrown back into society and they're fully expected to have that empathy, have that humanity, have all of those things. And it's hard for them to just flip that switch and show it. It's not that it is not there and within them. It's that they have had to, like, essentially hide it and repress it, right? So that's one reason they don't communicate. It's one reason they're not, discussing it. It's, I couldn't imagine having to harm another person, a child or a woman or someone like that, coming at me because I knew they were going to hurt me, and having to just keep going and do things like that. That's not, but I'm not a warrior, right? So, but to have to be trained that way, and then to have to turn around and walk into a situation, and that is all you see once you get back in that situation. You walk into a mall and all you see are potential threats, right? And we don't want them to be that way. We want them to come back and be normal, and they can't just do that. And so I guess what we should probably talk about is our communication, right? Yes. Because that's what we're here for. What we did and how we started doing it. And it took us a while. We were on the road and we were kind of struggling a little bit. And finally one day, he said something to me, and I turned around and I said, "What I just heard you say to me was," and I repeated it back. And he goes, "No, that's not what I said to you."
But your thoughts, your beliefs, everything, she processed that information to where it didn't make sense to her, because really you think that way is what I got from it.
I can give you an example. So we were here one day, and Philip is not from here. And there were a lot of times where he was just kind of trapped within the home, right? He hadn't been really out. He hadn't done any of the Wounded Warrior stuff. He hadn't really been out in the community much. It was when we first moved here. I was working long hours. I was working probably 10-hour days. And so we really did not have a lot of time. We had spent all of our time together and then almost no time together. Yeah. And I came home, and I was standing at the kitchen sink. He was in the living room, and he was talking about how he felt trapped within the home and he had nobody here. He had no family. He had no friends. He had nothing like that. And I said, now he was going to the gym, and I said, "I cannot make you friends."
Well, as you said, it's not your responsibility to find me friends.
No, I said, "I can't make you friends."
Okay, that's true.
I said, "I can't make you friends." Myself. And he kind of exploded on me. And I kind of just sat there and waited and listened and looked at him. And finally I said, what did you hear me say? And he said, "You don't want me to have friends." And I said, "No, what I said to you is I can't make friends for you. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to go out and make your own friends. If I could make friends for you, I would make you 1,000,000 friends." Like, he would have 1,000,000 friends, not me. I'd have 5 close friends and be done with it. He would have 1,000,000 friends, but
acquaintances.
But I can't do that for you.
True.
You have to do that work on your own, because you have to find your own friends, and I can't do it. If I could, I would, but you have to get out there and do it on your own. You have to go to the gym and make your friends. You have to find a hobby.
That's the biggest part, because going from this high speed stuff to nothing is exhausting.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to high speed, low drag, get things done, make things happen, and come back here. And it's not that no one cares. Everybody's busy. Everybody's living their life while I was off doing what I was doing. They were building their life in their local areas. And when you come back, I lost a lot of those connections after coming back from Iraq as a contractor. Everybody I knew moved, or I moved. And I realized that one of the passions I have for improving communication is through my own experiences of not knowing what love is. Because in my warrior, I fought everything. And I thought that was the way we handle things. Through conflict, well, I'm more dominant. I win. But what you've helped me understand is the power of love and patience and understanding, and that you want to be a force multiplier because things I don't think of, especially around family and stuff like that, because I didn't know I just didn't say anything. And now I'm able to open up and articulate my thoughts, my feelings, and everything. I had to let go of my ego and my pride. That was one of the hardest things.
So we have introduced ourselves, and we have kind of shared where we want this to go, and what our goals are, and why we're here. And we really want to thank you for joining us today. And we hope that you chime in for the future episodes. And we look forward to seeing you. And when our podcasts start, we hope you join us for that. Yes. So thank you for being here today. And we hope that you watch in the future.
And always remember, hey, love will open your mind, your body, and your soul to all the possibilities that God has given us. In loving someone, gotta love yourself first. And that's one of the things that I had to do, is learn to love myself. And it took equine therapy and different things.
Yeah, we can go into that another day because we got a lot to talk about on that, right?
Yes.
All right.
But
have a great morning.
You guys have a great morning. And thank you. Like, subscribe. Hey, follow us. We want to have more interactions with our audience, and answer some of the things that you have questions about, and that because one of the things that I've seen also is he never listens to me. Actually, he is listening, but he's not responding in the manner that you're wanting. So, hey, love God, love life, love each other, and together we can do anything. And hey, look up. There's someone out there for you, and love life as much as possible. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.